G'day, I'm Joe Prevedello and I'm joined by Neil Hermes, the proprietor of Canberra Guided Tours, for this discussion about tourism in the Canberra region. G'day, Neil.
Hi, Joe.
In this particular episode, Neil, we're going to talk about the process of actually going on a tour.
Yeah, the mechanics.
That's right. It's
All
not
right.
something, people often talk about, what's involved in actually going on a tour. If you haven't been on one before, you wouldn't actually know
No, that's
how
true.
they work.
That's
So
true.
I guess one of the most popular tours that you run is the Canberra Highlights Tour.
It's true.
Let's just talk through the mechanics of that from the point of sale.
Yep.
When you book a tour, you might book it online or over the phone, right through until the very end of the experience. Just run through that for us.
Okay, so the way it works, Joe, is you make a booking, you go online, you find the details, you select the date that you want to travel, you make a booking, you make a payment. You'll get a confirmation of the booking by email,
Yep.
so you'll get to see, and in that, it's to see the booking, and in that confirmation, it'll have a pickup time. You will have put in your pickup location, and there's a selection of hotels, or you can type in where you'll be, so that you'll know we know where to pick you up, and you'll know the time that we pick you up. So that's the first thing. We will pick you up. Now, sometimes there's a 10-minute, in the mornings, we might have to pick up at a number of locations, so the time might be up by 10 minutes or so in the mornings. But, we give an indication of when we'll pick you up. And on the Highlights Tour, it's sometime around about 9:30, perhaps a little earlier.
Okay. And then throughout the tour, as the day goes on, I mean, how does that work? Obviously, you provide a lot of information for the clients who are on the tour, and there can be interaction with questions. Let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, that's the fun part about running a Highlights Tour, is that you get a group of people who perhaps haven't been to Canberra recently or have never been here, and the guide will, introduce them to the city and take them around the various features that we identify in the program. But importance in terms of the tour is great and people get a great experience, but just in terms of the mechanics, of course, people often ask, what level of fitness do you need? Well, people just need to be mobile, frankly. I mean, the walk around New Parliament House is probably the largest bit of walking in the whole day, and that might be, a total of, several hundred metres of walking. So people will need to be able to...
Very manageable.
It's very manageable, and there's lifts everywhere for people who find stairs difficult. So people don't have to... in fact, only in the last few days, I've done some tours where people have needed to use lifts. So we make sure at each venue a lift is available, which there is. But people need to be mobile. Obviously, people have the need to go to bathrooms. So there's bathroom stops regularly during the day. And then on that particular tour, we stop at a location for lunch. Frequently, that'll be New Parliament House, but it's not always. And people then get a selection of, their selection of the food that they want. So they might just want to have a sandwich, or they might want to have something a little more substantial. So there's an opportunity to buy some food during the course of the day. And
there's always a variety.
And there's always a good variety.
Which is important.
And I mean, we don't have to know in advance that people need a particular sort of dietary thing, because where we stop, there is a variety. So that's not an issue to worry about. So that's how it works during the course of the day. And then at the end of the day, we'll drop people back to the hotel that we picked them up at. Or for some people, occasionally they'll want to be dropped off at a different location, and that can be arranged. We just need to know that
they're fairly flexible.
That they need, they've decided they're going out for dinner and they want to go straight on from the tour, and we'll drop them at a different location. And even occasionally we'll get people who might be flying out that night. And, they might put, they might have their luggage with them, and we drop them at the airport at the end of the tour, at 5:30 or thereabouts. So those sorts of things can work. It's not as easy to pick people up for a tour from the airport, because you never quite know the timings, but it is possible at the end of the day to drop people at the airport as an option, which occasionally happens. So, they're the way, the mechanics of how a tour works on a given day.
But actually on the tour, I mean, yourself or any of your guides can impart a huge amount of information. They can talk on and on and on and on and on non-stop.
I know, it's not as bad as that, Joe.
You can do that, and if the clientele, if that's what they're after, and they want to absorb all of that information, then that's fantastic. But of course, the best tours are from a guide's point of view,
Because when people ask
is when there's a lot of
absolutely.
conversation.
Absolutely.
Because it means you can really tailor the information to what
Sure.
people want to hear
Look,
and their interests.
Look, our company, we do regular scheduled tours, and to be quite frank, we don't ever get large numbers of people booking on our highlights tour. We will get small numbers
At any one time.
on any one day. So we only ever get small groups. We're a small group tour company. And that the advantage of that is that you do get the opportunity to get to know the clients on a tour on a particular day. If there's only 4 or 6 or 10 people in a group for the day, you get to know what people are interested in. And the guide can include things in the day tour, in negotiation with the group that might not be on the schedule. You might be able to do a stop somewhere where you don't have to go. I only did a tour today, for example, where we stopped and looked at blue poles, which is, it's Australia's most famous piece of art and the most expensive piece of art.
Yeah.
It's not on our regular schedule to do that tour, but this particular group mentioned it. They said that they wanted to, so we were able to include it. So the interaction means that you can include things in a tour on a day if people, let you know that there's some interest in that particular subject. But you're right. A guide finds it a lot more fun when you get some sort of interaction with people and you find out what they're interested in, and you can tailor the day a little bit according to that interest.
Another thing to mention is photography.
Yep.
On your tours, you're pretty much free to take photographs anywhere.
Extraordinarily, we visit, Parliament House, Old Parliament House, Duntroon, the Military Training Academy. There are no restrictions on us for taking embassies. It's all, I can't think of a place, in fact, in Canberra where you can't take pictures. So yes, photography is encouraged in most places, and we encourage people to take photos, and we'll take pictures of people on tour so they can share them. And we love it when they share the photographs of our tour on their sites as well.
And I guess one other thing to mention, cultural sensitivities. I would suggest probably in Canberra, we're relatively respectful. Well, we are. We're respectful and flexible when it comes to cultural.
I'd go beyond that, Joe. I'd say, in all my travels around the world and all my travels around Australia, I don't think there is a city which is more accepting of everybody than Canberra is.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's never an issue about, people's views or whatever in terms of travelling in a group with us. And the other advantage, of course, is that we're in a small group. It's very, if you like, a very safe environment for people to travel in because, the city and that sort of group is very accommodating of different people's views and their cultural or religious background. So, that is never an issue. And, of course, we go around the city and we look at all the embassies. There's 100 different embassies from all around the world here in this city. That's what this city is about. So, that's always a good part. And if we have a mixed group of people from different backgrounds, the tour gets better.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there you go. Well, I hope that has given you a little bit of information about how a tour actually operates with Canberra Guided Tours. Thanks for your time, Neil.
Thanks, Joe.